Peace, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I appreciate you all for joining me once again. I'm so sorry it's been a long time, but a lot of things have been coming up and a little busy, but I'm here now. Today we have a special guest again, Miss Tiara Alicia. Tiara, say hi.
Hi, it's me again.
We're doing it again, guys. We're doing it again. So today's going to be something special. We're just going to ask each other questions, talk to each other, kind of do like a back and forth interview type of thing, which I think is a great idea. So started off, I want to talk about, you did a workshop, Tiara.
I did.
Recently. Yes.
Yeah.
Very excited. I wish I was in the area to do it.
I know.
Would have been there to show my support. But
hopefully one day soon I'll be able to like travel to you or something.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Get that rolling. That'd be amazing.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that. Tell me what the overall basis of that and how did it go, and if you can get more into detail about that.
Yeah, so we hosted our first workshop at Cafe Karma. It's this newly established coffee shop in the town that I live in Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's a coffee shop by day, but then it's also like a yoga meditation studio by night.
Oh, wow.
There's like a little retail area in there. You can buy Palo Santo, crystals, journals, sage, anything you can think of. It's just kind of like that go-to space for conscious people. Whether, you just want to catch a vibe on a work day, if you would work from coffee shops or work from home, you want a change of pace, a change of environment. Or if you just want to catch a yoga flow at the end of the day, in the evening. So it's a really cool space. I know the owner very well. She puts so much intention and detail into everything that went into the space, and she still continues to. So it just feels good also supporting local, supporting women-owned businesses and things like that. But yeah, our first workshop was about reprogramming the subconscious, which is kind of, I feel like what a lot of people are starting to tap into in terms of everybody sort of has a good idea of the theory that if you change your mind, you can change your life. And, by kind of eliminating subconscious blocks or inner conflict, limiting beliefs, you can really tap into your full potential and live a more happy and fulfilling and joyous life. So that's basically what we did. We opened up with a mindful meditation, and we talked a lot about the subconscious mind, what it is, what reprogramming it looks like, why this is important. And we did some breath work. We did EFT, emotional freedom tapping. I guided everybody through a hypnotherapy. It was literally just a 2 to 3 hour long, immersive, transformative experience. And I was really just kind of planting seeds of magic into people's subconscious all day. And it was it was a dream for me, honestly, to be completely transparent. I never saw myself as a workshop facilitator or to lead people in that space. I always kind of just saw myself creating content. But then when the opportunity presented itself, I kind of got really excited, and I just followed my joy, and I felt super aligned in my life purpose. So we're going to be doing more for sure. But I think from this experience, I learned that this needs to be accessible, not just for people in the state of Delaware or in Wilmington, Delaware. I need to somehow live stream this or, travel, go to different places. So that's kind of what we're working on now. But the people that attended felt so good. I've been getting so much good feedback. People have felt huge shifts in their energy and their mindset. Somebody literally told me they felt like they were on drugs, in the best way possible, because they just feel so good,
Right.
There were people crying and releasing suppressed and repressed shit that they just hadn't realized that they didn't work through. And it was just, honestly, I could talk on and on about it. It was just such an amazing experience. I definitely want to recreate it and repeat it again, and hopefully have you there facilitating with me one day. That would be really cool.
Absolutely. So, I love that. Actually, that's amazing. So going back to reprogramming the conscious mind, do you feel as though it will be better for people to go in already knowing, I don't want to say this, and it might sound negative, they already know their issue, right?
Ooh,
Already know what's
good
going
question.
on with them, because then you can say, okay, I have this issue going on with me. I know this about myself, and this is what I want to change. Or is it better for, because you mentioned some people were crying maybe because they didn't know about some things about themselves. Is it better for them to discover it then, or figure out before and come to you and then work on their problems? How do you think? What do you think about that?
That's such a good question. I love that question. So I did actually have people come up to me and they said, I came in here not really knowing what to expect or not really knowing what my intention was, but then it just, or even some people, they did have a good idea of what their intention was, but then you go throughout the entire workshop flow and you go throughout the process of, exploring your subconscious and what lives there. And then you kind of discover things along the path. It's kind of just like taking a journey. You know what I mean? Like if anybody's ever read the book, The Alchemist, like you go on an exploration and a journey expecting, some things to happen, and then it completely redirects you. So that definitely sort of happened. And I don't think that you have to have a good idea or a super strong intention going in. I think sometimes your subconscious will let you know, or your soul will let you know why you're there and what you need to experience. And in the way that I lead my workshops, like I really wanted it to be as inclusive as possible. So I really broke it down to the bare bones basics of what the subconscious is and why they were there, in terms of not even thinking about what is living in their subconscious, but really what's going on in their lives that led them to that space. You know what I mean? More so leaning into that, what aspect of your life are you just not super happy and fulfilled in, that, you've maybe tried anything and everything to try to change, but nothing's working. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, I don't really think you have to really know. I think, just like I said before, the exploration of the journey sort of lets you know along the way.
I like that. That's a great answer for sure.
Yeah.
And do you agree that I know we talked about dreams before in other podcasts, paying attention to your dream, doing your dream journal. Can that help other people identify what is actually the issue with them? Because we know we talked about our subconscious telling us things in our dreams. Does that help them as well if they do that?
Absolutely.
Are you telling people to do that during your workshop? Hey, pay attention to your dream. This is what you need to be looking for, Because I know that recently, in the past couple of weeks, 2 people have reached out to me via email and just sent me a huge long list of their dream that, it was just a 5-minute dream, but it was so much detail in it that I'm okay, we need to talk on the phone or something like that, because I need to hear it from your voice to understand, and I was able to guide them into what was actually happening, and what probably happened to them in the past. And it to me, I know it feels so good to have someone really, really thank you. Because you can tell that it moved forward from it. It makes you feel makes you feel good.
It definitely does.
Yeah, because you said that, you never thought that you would be doing a workshop, right? And you thought you would be doing videos. I never thought I would be doing a podcast. I never thought I would be doing, taking my gifts and talking about it to people. I've never thought about it. And this so happened that I talked to a healer, and the healer was like, this is what you should be doing. And this is what I've seen you should be doing. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy that you said that. And I talked to someone else weeks later, another healer. The healer says the same thing. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So, if it says it 2 times, I got to go ahead and go ahead and do it. So, yeah, I think it's amazing how life turns out. We have these abilities and gifts, and it just one day just snaps, and we're like, okay, let's do it on a bigger scale. Let's actually use it to help people. So that's the great thing. Yes. That's the reason why I do it anyway. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in the field that we're in, you can really come across groups of such diverse people. You know what I mean? There are some people that maybe they're aware that they dream and that maybe they have super strong symbolism in their dreams, but they don't lean into it as much until they meet somebody like you or like me. And then they really sort of dive into it. And I don't know about you, but there are sometimes these things happen where like I have a really strong dream and then I have a like conversation with somebody that I've never met before, and there's like a strong sign or synchronicity there, or there's this pull to like almost bring up a message that comes forward, or there's like a correlation between what I've dreamt about and like what they're talking to me about, and like you as an intuitive knowing that like there's a message that you need to deliver to them. So I guess what my question to you is like, what are like some really strong signs and synchronicities that you get that sort of like reaffirms things to you that you're on the right path, or like something that you need to bring forward to somebody else to like reaffirm to them?
That's a really, really, really good question. There's so much. So how I feel as though I'm on the right track, right path is, one, of course, how I dream. I get different information from my dreams, or as someone who's intuitive, someone who's a medium, I can just talk to my guides, mainly my guides. My ancestors, they're there for support, but my guides actually know exactly what's going on, and they can tell me more into detail. So I really reach out to them. Yeah. When if I want to see I'm on the right track, and they'll let me know yes or no, tell me straight up, straightforward, yes or no. Or if they want me to figure it out myself, they ask me, what do you think? Yeah. How do you feel? Right. Yeah. Trying is feeling, so there's, so mainly I just try to focus on my goal and what I want to happen. And I think that if I stay on a clear mind, a positive, clear mind, and stay focused on what I want to do, that there's kind of no way for me to be off my path. Because I trust myself, and I trust my abilities to help me move forward. So that's just, I don't want to be too plain and simple, but that's basically how it is. You got to basically be totally positive and aware and confident. Let's just say that. That's a big word, right? Confident into what you want to do, right? Because if you didn't have the confidence, Tiara, would you have done that workshop? Probably not. Oh my God. Right?
Well, that was something I talked about in the workshop, because I was like, a year ago, the thought of even leading people in that type of space would have scared the shit out of me.
Absolutely.
But I've received so many signs and synchronicities and so much confirmation along the way that it was almost like undeniable of like, you have to do this. Like, you don't, like, there's no other
There's no choice, really. Right? You have no choice, right? But then, right?
Yes.
If you don't, it's going to eat at you, and that's going to be worse than you coming in front of people expressing yourself. And that's what that was for me as well. Like, I have no choice when I want to come out with my podcast. So I made sure I talk to everybody. I talk to my family, my mother, my sister, my father, talk to my very close friends, and basically tell them this is who I am. Like, you think you've known me, you kind of don't know me. I have a whole different world outside in what you think, what you see. So them like listen to my podcasts, listen, go on my Instagram, supporting me all through the way. They actually get an understanding of who I am. And it's definitely have made our relationship, stronger in a sense. Definitely strong, because now like, I really know who he is now. Yeah. Right. And that's the thing. To be vulnerable and to show yourself in a vulnerable state is not easy at all. It is definitely not easy.
Facts.
Yeah. And saying, I hated hearing myself on a recording. Like, I really hated it. I was like, I don't want to hear my voice in a recording. And then I'm like, well, it is what it is. It's just your voice. Deal with it, right? You can't change your voice.
Yeah. And you almost have to learn to love it. It's like a journey to self-love.
Right. Exactly. And self-love is not easy. People say they love themselves, but, do you really?
Right.
So it's...
Like, can you show up unapologetically and be seen and be heard as your true self and not really care what other people think, and really just like being confident in knowing that the only person's opinion of you that really matters is yours.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That part.
That's exactly. So So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get yourself out of the funk? Like we all have, we all have issues. We all have, not want to say we all have issues. We all have days or weeks that is just harder than the rest, right? Yep. So how do you get yourself out of like feeling down or feeling unmotivated, or you have a high stress or anxiety? Is there some practices that you do? Is it like you go out and just take a walk? Or like, what do you do to get yourself out of that?
Yeah, I definitely I'm just like everybody else. I think life comes in waves. Everybody has their highs, everybody has their lows, you know? So I think the learning of how to like regulate my nervous system was absolutely pivotal for me. Like just learning what tools I need when I'm feeling overwhelmed or when I'm feeling unmotivated or when I'm feeling a certain way, really tuning into my body, becoming aware of like, okay, what needs to be fulfilled right now? You know what I mean? Like if I'm feeling unmotivated, then I need something to inspire me. I need to basically like light a fire up under my ass, you know? And how can I do that? Like maybe I need to go for a walk, you know, like literally like building fire in the body, go for a walk or go do a workout or do like a certain form of yoga. And vice versa. If I'm feeling like super anxious and like an overwhelm of energy, then how am I going to do things to calm me down? Maybe I need to slow down my breathing, like tune into my breath. So I think it really shows up for me in the ways that I show up for myself consistently every day, if that makes sense. So every single day, like the way I start my day is really what sets the tone for me. And I have like a certain embodiment practice that I do every day. And through that embodiment practice, it's like, okay, let me tune into my energy, listen to my body. What do I need right now? Do I need to go for a walk? Do I need to just like go out and sit in the sun and sit on the grass? Do I need to nourish myself and make myself a healthy breakfast? You know what I mean?
Right.
Instead of like doing a concrete routine for me, like I learned to give myself the space and the time and then to kind of choose what I need for myself at that time and then really like show up for myself in a way that I'm able to provide myself and fulfill my needs and my wants and desires.
Right. I love that answer. Definitely. You got to show up for yourself, guys. Like if you're not going to show up for yourself, then who will?
Right.
So you got to treat yourself right. I totally agree with you. I do similar things.
Like how do you stay grounded, right? Because
I usually, this is why I love nature. I'm a nature type of guy. Like I have a bunch of plants, you know, I'm a plant guy. I like to go out, plant dad, you know. I have 13 plants that I take care of. Yeah, so I mean, you know, I keep them alive, and they also keep me alive, in this vice versa. So it's like a duality with that. I love to be out and being near some water. I love to go on a hike, and if there's like a stream of water, I literally go there, put my headphones on, I sit on a rock and look at the water and look at nature continue to flow. And then I ask myself, if what I'm feeling right now at this moment, is it the highlight of my life? Is it bigger than what I'm actually making it seem? Now, I think I as humans, we have a tendency to exaggerate a lot. And we take the smallest things just because it happens and we blow it up to make it seem like it's the biggest thing. And it's not. It's not really. It's kind of just the smallest thing. And I tell myself, am I going to allow this small thing dictate the rest of my day or week or month? I tell myself yes or no. You know, and I make sure I answer myself with that question. I don't just say it in my mind. I actually say the question to myself and make myself answer. Because I know for sure I tend to blow things up out of proportion. Like it's not even that serious, dude. Like what's wrong with you? You know, but I make it seem like it's like the biggest thing. But I'm like, is it really? Is it really? And I look outside and I see birds, I see bees, I see flies, I see nature moving around, and I say, are they stressed?
Right.
Are they dealing with the same things I'm dealing with? No, they just live. And I think that the society that we live in right now has caused us to think that everything around us is moving so quickly and we have to worry about this, we have to worry about that. And it's like, all you have to do is just live. Really.
Yeah, you just have to exist.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's all you have to do. You're already doing it. You've been doing it for a while. Just continue to do it. Don't worry about everything else. It's just small compared to what you have to do. What you have to do with your life. Like, we all have a plan of what we have to do, and you just do it. Some people like walk around and try to find their way, like around the world, trying to find a mark on the world, trying to see how they fit in within the universe. But then people have to realize that you are the universe. You don't need to try to fit in within, so just know that you are the universe. So, and I always talk about this as well. And I always say, if you, universe doesn't really care about other things. All it cares about is energy, right? So if you put the right energy out, it will bring forth the same energy back to you. Bring out negative energy, it will bring forth that negative energy. But if you are the universe, then who are you actually talking to? So if you, then you don't need to pray to the universe. Just you need to pray to yourself and say that the things that I want, I just got to ask myself for it. That's the thing. That's the key. How I've, and also I like to listen to music as well. I love.
Oh yeah.
I love music. I love old school like R&B. I'm a 90s, 80s R&B. Like
me too.
You would not hear me turn on not one song from nowadays music. I just can't. I can't get with it. So I'm always blasting old music, even music like back in the soul music back in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah,
old
that's
soul
the
music.
Ancestors talking.
Oh, they singing, they talking to us.
Yeah.
I listen to that and I meditate, which is crucial too. And I know it's hard. People say, Jonathan, they always tell me like I can't get in. They always write me messages too, like Jonathan, I can't get into meditation like you can. You just got to try harder.
Yeah.
It is not something that you're going to perfect. Don't think that it's going to be perfection, because it's not. It's a practice.
Yep.
Practice makes perfect. So if you don't do it every single day, then how you expect to be perfect at it, or how you expect to be good at anything if you don't practice it? So
yeah, it's a muscle.
Exactly. It's a
and
muscle.
It's weird with meditation because it's one of those things where like you almost have to try to not try.
Yeah.
So much. it's that weird paradox where you don't really have to try to do anything when you're meditating. You just have to simply be. You have to be still. You have to be just existing, like you were saying earlier, and just like slowing everything down. And we live in such a fast-paced society, like you said earlier. Like, I have this question for you, actually, speaking on that. Like, as somebody who, lives a conscious lifestyle, and you have these practices where you stay super grounded, and then all of a sudden, let's say you go out into society and you encounter somebody who is, sort of polarizing that, and as sort of an empath, that kind of rubs off on you. Like, how do you protect your energy as an intuitive, as an empath, like when you go out into the world after having ground yourself?
So that's a great question. Great question. That happens a lot. It happens a lot. And it usually happens if I don't try to protect myself before I go out into the world. Yeah. So there's different things you can do to protect yourself when you go out, before you go out into the world. Like, you can meditate and create a kind of bubble or shield around you. And it's not like something that you would do the first time. This takes practice. You need to do it. I don't even know how many times you would need to practice it to say that you will get it right. You basically need to envision that there's an aura around your body that you kind of create from your core and have it spread out. And what that does is protect you from negativity, toxic behavior, or stuff like that when you walk out to the elements. Because you've been to like the grocery store and you can feel energy around you. You can feel that there's multiple people that are there are in a negative, toxic energy. You know it. And the only way to protect yourself from that is to create this bubble. Or, as an empath, I don't want to say we absorb that energy. We kind of just take it on. We don't absorb it. It doesn't stay with us. I know I go home, I decompress, and I release that energy out. I tell myself that that energy is not mine. When I'm feeling it's not mine, so it doesn't belong to me. So I'm going to send it back to the person that gave it to me. So it's all about when you're in the act, there's also things you can do to protect yourself, or just remember who you are, remember your steps, remember everything during that time. If you encounter a negative person or toxic person or whatever, or you can just wait until you get home to release it all, and I think for me, it's better to just hold it in until I get home. Because then I'm in a safe space in order to release that negative energy. Because I know in my house, I'm safe in here. There's nothing that can harm me in my home. So I wait till I get home to release those negative energies, send it back to that person and say, hey, this is not me. This is not who I am. I get a bunch of I have a bunch of crystals and a sage, great incense that I get. Speaking of that, I get that from a crystal shop that opened up right near my home, which is literally walking distance. I can just walk right to the shop. It's amazing.
I love that.
Yeah, it just opened up a year ago. It was amazing. I tell the owner all the time that I manifested her opening up this shop because I was like, man, I need me a metaphysical store somewhere around here. And a couple of days later, I'm driving home and I look to my left and all you see is big purple letters, crystal shop. And I'm like, amazing. So I want to give a shout out to that crystal shop. The owner name is Miranda. Her IG is Miranda's Minerals _ It's great. She has great prices on a lot of things. She used to have an online store that you can buy things online and she ship it to you. If you see some things on her IG that you like, just give her a call or hit her up on IG and tell her that you live in a different state and you want these items. She'll definitely send that to you. But I want to give her a shout out because she has great, best prices I've ever seen on a lot of things. And I go there faithfully to get a lot of incense from her. I love burning incense.
I love incense.
Yes, she has. She knows a maker that does all these incense, and they use coal, which is great. It's great, clean smell, and my favorite smell is Egyptian musk. It's my favorite one. I go there all the time and get boatloads of it and just burn it all the time in my house. I love it, love it, love it.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I can smell it now.
Yes. Oh man, I wish you were here to smell it. It smells so good. It just smells like I just want to relax. My mom lives in Texas, and every time she comes back over to my house, she's like, that smell from that incense is so good. It just makes me want to just relax. And she comes here, she just takes a nap, or she's all relaxed. So it's amazing. But shout out to Miranda's Minerals _ on IG. I'm gonna leave her IG in the description box as well if anybody want to check her out. Shout outs to her. But yeah, how do you do it? And reverse the question back to you. How do you? I know you already asked that question, but you also are an intuitive person as well.
Yeah.
So how do you do it?
So it's funny that we're even on this topic because I even recognized it when I was hosting my workshop. So I remember waking up that day and I really showed up for myself because I was like, if I'm going to show up for these people later, I need to show up for myself now. So I did my embodiment practice. I ate a super healthy, nourishing breakfast, and I was just kind of with myself all day, eliminated as much distraction as possible. And I really just, tuned into that energy. And then I felt weirdly, blissfully calm all day and just super present, which is a great feeling to be in. You just felt like you didn't have to do anything except for exist. It was a very peaceful feeling. And then we got to the venue, we got to the cafe and we set up and everything. And as people started to come in and as we sat down to start the workshop flow, I all of a sudden felt this super nervous energy. And I was like, this is so weird because I didn't feel nervous at all. You know what I mean? I'm like, why am I feeling nervous now? And I didn't realize it at the time because I wasn't super aware of it. I was more so focusing on creating a safe space for other people and, just all of these other things when you're leading a workshop. And later on, I was like, oh, now that I think about it, I'm like recalling the look on some people's faces, and there are some of their body language and things like that, and I'm like, that was their nervous energy. Like some people were, some people were nervous. It was actually everybody that was there. It was their first workshop ever that they had ever attended. No pressure. But like that was their first workshop. They came in not knowing what to expect, and they came in to do like really tough inner work. Like working on your subconscious is not something for the lighthearted. And they were somewhat nervous, you know what I mean? A few people even told me at the end, like, man, I came in here kind of super anxious, but after, the meditation, after the breath work, after the hypnotherapy, like I feel so light, like I literally feel like I could fly away right now. And at the time I was like, wow, I feel nervous, and not recognizing that this is not my nervous, this is their nervous.
Right.
So I think as an empath, like you were saying, you sort of take it on, more so, and you just feel it, not realizing that it's not yours.
Right.
So I think that knowing that now, I'm just going to have to practice awareness in the present moment and really assessing like, okay, how did I feel even 30 minutes ago? And if that was not like the slightest bit of nervousness, then I know that's not my energy. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's really just that becoming aware of is the biggest thing for me. And then also just having like your go-to tool to sort of rid yourself of that energy at the moment. So I think for me is like slowing down my breathing. I really like just tune into myself and sort of not block it out, but I guess like you were saying earlier, like with the bubble, you know what I mean? Like sort of recognizing and realizing like, what is my vibrational set point? Like, let's get back to that more so.
Right.
So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I want people to understand how much trust they have to have. And people who are listening, when people reach out to me in Tiara, or when they do her workshop, when they reach out to me about helping them out with, their dreams, or if I get in contact with an ancestor of theirs and stuff like that, that's a very vulnerable state.
It is.
And people have to kind of really trust you.
Yeah.
In order to allow you to enter into their energy. It's not something that people do. Like you said, there's some people probably like, I wasn't thinking about doing it. I'm probably not going to do it. I'm probably going to just, Then I know there's some people who've reached out to me who are like, hey artist, I don't know if I should be writing you, but I need some help. That's the first thing they say.
Oh, wow.
And the first thing that's the first opening liner. Hey artist, I don't know if I should be writing you, but I need some help. And I'm like, all right, it's okay. Just tell me what's going on. Just take it slow. Just tell me what's going on, and we're good to go. And I think they are in a vulnerable state, and it's up to me. My job is to make sure that they're not uncomfortable, and not to infringe on their energy, and not to seek push a judgment on them, because I'm not here to judge you. Whatever happens in your dream is between you and your dream. I'm just here to interpret it. So it's for us. We know that it takes a lot for someone to do that. Reach out to us, do our workshops or whatever. And when they do, they feel relief. It makes us feel relief. Like we can feel that same relief out of you guys when you guys take that breather and you're like, whew, okay, I feel good. We also feel that as well, right? And it makes us feel like, oh, okay, you feel good. Okay, I feel good too. So I think, I think it's better for people to fully grasp that information. It's hard to say it in words unless you can actually feel it for yourself, but it's crazy. That's like one of my favorite things too,
in the type of work that we do. You can literally witness somebody's inner light just grow and expand as you continue to talk to them, and for them to open up, and you open up even yourself as well, because I know sometimes we have to be vulnerable in order for them to see the relatability, or even for them to feel safe as well. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing to witness somebody just completely let their guard down and just feel so much more at ease and uplifted and experiencing more elevated emotions after an interaction.
Right. No, it's definitely a great feeling. And the smile on their face too, right? That's the best thing. When you see their smile on their face, it's like that person is going to go outside and take on the world.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
And it's just, it's a great feeling. It's an amazing feeling.
Yes.
So it was crazy because I think we talked a couple of days ago and I was asking you how the workshop went and everything like that. And I'm like, for some reason, I don't think I said this to you. When I was talking to you, and that's why I asked you, like, how long was you thinking about that? Like the workshop.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I remember.
Because Ramona was like, I told her.
Oh my goodness, my great grandmother. She had to pop in.
Yeah, before I even, as soon as I said something to you, she sent me a message. It was like, I told her. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, what is she talking about? And I thought back, like, oh my gosh, she did say something. So that's why I was like, hey, do you remember that she said just do it before? Do you remember that?
Yeah, like when you reminded me of that and I went back in our messages and I saw that, yeah, you had given me that message at the time. And at the time, people were like planting seeds in my head of like, you know, you should host a workshop or you should do this, you should do that. And like at the time I was slightly considering it, but then at the same time I was like, nah, like I don't think people would actually come to me to like, host something like that. Like I don't even think I could do that. You know what I mean? There was still a lot of doubt behind it. But yeah, I guess she made it very clear that that is what I needed to do.
She's so straightforward. She doesn't really say anything much.
Yeah, she that sounds about right.
Straightforward. She just said, do it. And I'm like, okay. And then when I messaged you the other day, she just like, I told her. And I was like, okay, what are you talking about, Ramona? Like, what are you saying to me? Like, so it's great.
Yeah, and for those that are listening and don't know who Ramona is, that is my grandmother's mother. So she passed when I was super, super young, but I did know her for a short amount of time. Not that I remember because I was so young. I must have been like 1, 2, 3 around there. And she passed away like when I was still, you know, single digits. Right. Yeah. So she has a connection to me, although I don't remember her that much, but we have a very strong connection now because she makes her messages very known.
She does.
So she doesn't hold back.
She doesn't. And usually when you have ancestors like that, they tend to, like I said to you, she thinks that you're her baby. You know, she thinks that you're her child. She refers to you as her child, even though she didn't birth you. But you know, that's how family is, though. That's the great thing. And people think that family, it ends with this life. When they pass on, it ends. Like, no, they still have the same demeanor. They're still as funny as they were. Starting personality as they did when they were on this plane. So they're the same people. They're just in a different plane. And majority of us can't see them. But there's some people out there like myself who can and are able to connect with them. So it's great. You know, it's a great thing. It's a great ability to have. I know.
What a great gift.
I know it is great now, but you know, before I used to hate it.
Things.
Oh man, it was rough. It was rough. It was rough for me, and I hated it. Growing up, I just hated it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to block all this off and just ignore it. And you know, I wish I didn't ignore it because I think it will be stronger now since I'm a lot older. But you know, it is what it is. This is a new life. And moving forward, you know, so that's it. That's all it is.
Yeah. So when if somebody's past loved one comes to you and you've never met them before, like you're not familiar with them, do you automatically know who they're sort of related to or like who the message is for? How does that work?
Yeah. So this is very interesting. That's a good question as well. Usually how it happens is that an image of that person will pop up in my head before they even say something of who they are related to. They will kind of send an image of who that person is to them. And if I don't know that person, like I don't know who that person is, like you're going to have to tell me, you know?
Yeah.
So they will have to tell me who this person is. And then I had to do my own research. Like, let me look on, everybody has Instagram nowadays. Let me look up on Instagram. Oh, they don't have an Instagram. Okay, who are they related to? Let me look on their Facebook, and I'm doing a research and figuring out who this person is to get this spirit, the information they need to give it over to that person. And I try to say this. They are very anxious. So if you're not careful, their urgency might rub off on you, and you might think that it's a huge emergency that you have to do. Like, it's not. They're just anxious. That's just how they are, right? It's a different time, and the space that they live in is totally different than our space that we live in. So I want people to understand that it's different. It might look like Earth. It might look like the same plane, but it's not. Everything is different. So they might be anxious to go reach out to somebody of their loved one or whatever. And it's your job to basically stay calm and to get as much information as possible from them and try to relay it the best way you can, there is that sense of urgency I've noticed whenever, Ramona's tried to communicate with me as well. Yeah, it is. It's like because it's like how it usually works is that they tried to connect with that person first, and they're trying to talk or leave little clues, and that person is just not paying attention. And right now they're like, okay, I'm frustrated now because I just want to tell them before it gets too late. It might be if 5 minutes is like 30 minutes over there. I don't really know the time zone, but it might seem longer than what it actually is. So they have a very sense of urgency.
Yeah. And I guess in a sense, you correct me with this as well. I just want to ask this really quick, but with the sort of realm or dimensional plane that they're on, congruent to ours, the way that they have access to communicate to us is sort of dependent on, their vibrational frequency in a sense. So it's not like they can just like manifest themselves physically and tell us these things. Like for you, they can, but not for everybody else because they haven't vibrated at that frequency yet. So they sort of have to communicate with us through other symbols or other things that might exist. Is that right? Like, how does that work?
Absolutely. You're correct. So for them, in order to connect to someone who's not a medium on this plane, the plane that we live on, is that they have to vibrate at a different frequency in order to connect with that. Now, that is very difficult to do, right? And it's not easy. So, but as a medium, I'm already connected to both sides. I'm right in the middle. I'm connected to both sides. You're like the radio. Exactly. I'm like the radio. That's what I am. And so half of my energy is here. The other half of my energy is over there. So they're like, okay, I can just relay the message to you. You can give that message over to them, and it's not easy for them to learn how to do it. Because it's not like there's teachers over there teaching them how to do it, something that takes a while and stuff like that. That's why it's probably easier for them to connect to you in your dream, though, for sure.
Yeah.
And your dreams. Because
we're crossing over to that side a little bit.
Exactly. You're crossing over to all the planes. You're open as it needs to be. So it's easier for them to say, okay, that person is dreaming. Let me jump into their dream, right? And I want to tell people how you know that you're actually talking to someone, your ancestors or your spirit guides in your dream, is that you will not see their lips move. I know. And that is something that people think that,
this has happened to me.
Right. And there's some people think like, I talked to my great grandpa. Okay. Do you know what he looks like? Yeah, I've had pictures of him, growing up. Okay, great. Was his lips moving? Yeah. Well, that wasn't him. That was your mind taking his body and speaking and using it as a dream. Because you won't see their lips moving. You kind of see them tell you things.
Like telepathically.
Exactly. Telepathically. Yeah, right.
That's definitely happened to me.
Right. And because I remember you reached out to me about that, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, I was like, was his lips moving? You're like, no, it wasn't doing anything. I was like, yeah, that was.
Yeah. And it's so confusing when it happens because you're like, what is going on?
Yeah,
like, how is their lips not moving, but they're talking to me in the dream? Yeah,
it's kind of freaky. It's freaky when you look at it. It's like, this is freaky. It's scary.
Yes.
And you know, there's some scary movies that are like that, where there's ghosts that don't say anything. They just stare, but you can hear their voices, and people think that's scary, and that's where they get that whole idea from. Is that's how you know that ghost was real, right? It's because of that. You won't see their lips moving, so I don't know.
So wait, does that happen for you when you're not in dream state as well? Their lips still don't move; they just communicate with you telepathically.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And it's more of, I'm looking at them, they're looking at me, and they're speaking, and I'm just listening.
Yeah.
When I'm talking, though, I'm talking out, like I'm saying things just like I'm talking now.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Yeah.
So
it's almost because we haven't learned how to manipulate our energy in the way that we are able to communicate solely through being telepathic.
Exactly. That's a whole different process. I'll tell you that right now. That's a whole. I mean, maybe later on in my years, I'll be able to learn that, years and years of meditation and things like that. But
being able to like send that signal and pick up somebody else's through simply that is
amazing.
Definitely an exercise. That's a practice in itself.
What? Listen, I'm guessing it's going to take you years to learn that, but it might not. You might learn it and catch on real quick.
Yeah.
You know, there's some people who we're all mediums. Let's say that we all have the power to become a medium, and some people who've never done that before sit down, do a meditation, study for a couple of days, and they're good to go. There's some people that take years. Listen.
I guess it depends on how many lifetimes you've done it.
Exactly. How many times have you been back here over and over again to done it? Yeah. So, because I know for me, in my past life, I could do this. I had the same abilities in my past life, which is great. I was able to go back and look at my past lives like a year ago, which is great. It took a while, a long, deep meditation, and I was able to find out some things with myself, which is amazing, which helped me forward into now. So that actually helped me move on to saying, okay, this is what I need to do, right? I'm gonna start this podcast. I'm gonna do the things I basically did in my past life. So it's great. It's great. I love it. Do you have any more questions for me, Tiara?
I mean, I guess just kind of thinking about that, would you say your past life regression was really pivotal for you? Like, do you think it's something you would recommend for everybody, or maybe just some people?
I say that if you want to figure out who you are deeply, you got to know who you were. And I always tell people that, you know, it might be painful to know exactly who you were. It might not, but it will help you decide. Because let's say that there's some things in you right now. The reason why you act a certain way is from things from your past life. I know that for a fact. And I know that for a fact for myself. There's the reason why I act a certain way towards something is because something happened in my past life that was a pain or something like that that was so hurtful for me that I had to die and be reborn into this life, and it carried on to my next life.
Yeah.
And I know for, and I knew that before, and I had someone look at my birth chart, and I remember the person was looking at my birth chart, and they were like, you know, you see this star right here? That is something from your past life. And he's like, there's something that happened to you. And when he said that, and I was like, uh-oh. I'm like, what? What'd you just say? Because I'm like thinking, only I should know that. But he's like looking at my chart, and he's like, okay, you see that right here? That was something in your reason why that's there is because that's something from your past life. Something hurt you so bad, it carried on into this life. And I'm like, you guy, why you had to expose me like this, man? Come on. And like, I'm like, look, come on, man. I'm about to hang up this video call on you, man. You
leave chat.
I'm about to leave chat, right? Because I'm about to just hang up on this guy, man. This guy was so accurate. It wasn't even funny.
I think you told me about him.
Yes.
What's his name? I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Forgot his name. Yeah, no, I forgot his name.
He's so good, though. I do remember getting a reading done by him, and he's very tapped in.
Yeah, he's super good. My sister recently got her reading done by him. I've been telling her for months to do it. And she's like, this guy is freaking amazing. I was like, right. He'd tell you something that's happened to you, that's going on with you right now at this second.
Yep.
Like right now at this second, this is something happening to you. I'm like, shit, this guy.
Can't hide anything.
Yeah, you don't know me, man. You don't know who I am. Right. Yeah. And and everybody who looks at my chart always says the same thing. Like your chart is it's crazy. Like it's
yes. I remember seeing your chart. I'm like, this just says Sixth Sense all over it.
Right. And he even said that. He was like, so I was looking at your chart and I was like, yeah. And he was like, has anybody ever told you how interesting your chart is? I was like, yep, all the time. He's like, yeah, so let's get into it. He's like, I've never seen someone's chart like this in all my years of doing this. I've never seen someone with the same stuff as you on your chart. I'm like, okay. Wow. I mean, I still don't know what that means. You got to get more into detail. So, yeah. I mean, he laid it all out for me. You know, it was supposed to be like a basic reading, but he just went into detail.
Yeah, he's like, how much time you got?
Yeah, he was like, if I didn't have another appointment that hour, like right after I do yours, we could stay and talk for a couple hours and I'll be okay with it. To go deep dive into your chart because there's so much things in here that's not even funny. He's like, you need to, possibly start like some type of thing with communication, like either that's starting a podcast or something. I was like, this fucking guy, I was just thinking about doing a podcast and you just tell me to do a podcast. Now I'm doing my podcast, so
you're like, get out of my head.
And this guy is amazing. But yeah, yes, not to digress, but yes, I think that people should definitely do past life regression to see exactly who they were. Let's see that, because they tell you who you are now.
Yeah, it's that unresolved stuff that just gets stored in you. Like even if you think about it in this lifetime, a traumatic event happens and you don't have the tools or the capacity to work through it at the moment, then it just gets repressed and suppressed in you and your body and your energy, and it creates this like imprint on your energy and your soul. Right. And that imprint literally can transcend like time and space and lifetime. So it makes the same correlation in terms of like if something really, really traumatic happened to you in a past life or a parallel life, that still translates.
Right. And then some people don't understand, like, something might trigger you so quickly. Mm-hmm. And you might, why is this triggering me? Nothing happened to me in this life. Mm-hmm. That's because something happened to you in your past life that make you trigger that. As soon as you hear it or even gets in the sense of it, you just snap. Yeah. Right. So doing your past life regression, there's a lot of ways to do it. There's people that you can see and it will help you along the way. I didn't see no one. I went to do it myself, which I don't recommend. It took a very, very long time to do it. Hours I'm doing a meditation.
Wow.
A deep meditation where I'm not even sitting straight up anymore. I'm like slumped over.
Wow.
And like I haven't moved in hours. So it got real deep.
Yeah. It's almost because like you have to access that frequency where you're like not quite asleep, but you're still aware enough to tap into that energy and know what you're looking for.
Exactly. And it's like, if I can tap into the energy, the same energy, vibrational frequency I was in my past life, that's how I can get information. Yeah. And to know that, you basically have to go and find traces of your past vibrational frequency and try to connect with that, and which is totally insane. It's super hard. And it's like you're trying to follow an echo that happened.
Like a breadcrumb.
Exactly. Or, when we echo, we can, if you hear something in the wind, if you hear like loud like bang or something like that, you can follow that sound, until you reach that sound. But if it happened 6 days ago, you can't hear the echo anymore, right? So it's the same thing of me trying to find an echo in the air that happened hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, on our timeline.
Right, on our timeline, exactly. So it's very, very difficult. So it's like, go to a professional. There's a lot of professionals out there you can see to do that. Or you can see a Reiki healer, a really good Reiki healer. That person can actually tell you, that person could look at your Akashic records and actually see.
Oh my God, I was just about to ask you about that. I was like, should we make this the last question? Because I was going to ask, do you then recommend looking at your Akashic records versus a past life regression? Or do you think they're the same thing? Like, what's your outlook on that?
I think that's a great question, Tiara.
We can make that the last one. I know that was probably like a lengthy answer. But...
No, I think that... I think to look at your Akashic records, I think it's a little different than you actually doing past life regression. Because in the past life regression, you're kind of reliving who you were. And so that might be helpful or better. But some people might say looking at the Akashic records is easier and better. But some, I can't really give you that yes or no answer to that. I think that whatever you are feeling called to do, then do it.
And I'm sure the process in accessing each kind of has its differences and its similarities. I guess it's really just like maybe based on what somebody resonates with the most or what their intention is. Right.
I was able to have someone else open up my Akashic records when I did my Reiki healing, which was amazing. But I let her do all the work for me. I didn't really have to do anything, which is great. And she's amazing. I don't think she does Reiki healings anymore because I know that it is not stressful. It's a lot of energy put out.
Yes.
And I know it can take a toll on some people, especially if you're looking at the Akashic records and you see some things in there that are like very traumatic. And she's like, okay, I just have to witness that of this person, so.
Yeah. You're almost like reliving that with them.
Exactly. So it's very, very traumatic. And I understand if that's the reason why she's not doing that anymore. But kudos to her because she's done it for a long time. And, she's definitely great. Oh my God. If she goes back, I'm going to book another one. That's how great she is. Amazing person.
Man, you guys have some awesome people in Virginia.
Listen, I didn't even know about her. My older sister told me about her and I was like, who? And she's like, yeah, this is how it is. You got to go here. She'll tell you, like when you book it, she'll email you or text you or whatever like that a couple of days before your Reiki healing, and she'll give you the address and she'll send you a video of how to get there. And she was like, if you're late, I'm sorry, we can't do it no more. If you're even 5 minutes late, you can't do it. Yeah, like it's and I was able to get there early, like at least an hour or so early. And then so she was like, yeah, come in. I'm gonna do my meditation. And then just wait for me. And then when I'm done, then we can talk. So we talked for a good hour and a half before we did my Reiki, which is amazing. And yeah, it was great. I think after I walked out of there, I was a brand new person. I didn't know who I was. And there was like this beautiful pond outside the area. And I remember sitting down and just looking at the water, just listening. It was nice, cool weather. And it was like ducks on the pond. I just watched nature flow, and I'm like, all right, this is who I am now, right? And it was amazing. So I digress again. So
it's okay. I love that.
Yes. It's all about what you're feeling called to do. If you feel like having someone look at your Akashic records or doing it yourself, which is also not easy, you can do that. Or you can have someone help you with the past life regression, which is also, if you want to do it yourself, you can, but it's also not easy as well. So it's all about whatever you feel called to do. But I think it's important that everyone does it.
Yeah. I think it's important to have like some preparation ahead of time, like you're saying. It's not the easiest thing to do. Just being mentally prepared, emotionally prepared, energetically protected also.
Right.
And yeah, just having a super strong intention behind it.
Right. It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think that's it, TR, for another episode. We are killing the game.
I can't believe an hour flew by that fast.
I know. We just, it's crazy. We definitely gonna do this again. Yeah. But did you want to do anything closing? Tag your IG in there, anything like that?
Yeah, sure. So you guys can find me on Instagram. We have Threads now. I think there's new social media popping up every week.
Baby.
Twitter turned into X.
Right.
I mean, what else? YouTube. You can find me all those places. Tiara Alicea, TIARA ALICEA. Mm-hmm. And if you want to follow me on those platforms, I'll always post any events or workshops that I'll be hosting as well. We're working on getting them virtual and live streaming and doing all these things to make it more accessible for people. So all updates will be on there.
Yeah, she also has different journals now, because I know you had a dream journal.
Yeah, that too.
And you have different other journals as well, which is great. And then you have an Amazon
gratitude, manifestation journal.
There you go. Which is
it's all in my bio and my Instagram. So if anybody wants to check it out.
There you go. You can buy them on Amazon, right?
Yes, they're on Amazon.
And we're going to do a giveaway again. And so giveaway will be probably, both of your new journals. And it's probably something else. So maybe it'd be a ticket to your next workshop.
Absolutely. We can give away a free ticket for sure.
There you go. So, absolutely. It can be virtual if you don't live in the same area in Delaware that she lives in. So definitely be virtual, which is still amazing for sure. Mm-hmm. So yeah, guys, thank you, TR, for joining me again. We're definitely going to do this again. I appreciate you all. And guys, until next time, peace.
Bye.